Hey guys, welcome to No Filters, Just Freedom, the show for people who are ready to stop shrinking, start rising, and live with unapologetic audacity. My name is Jasmine, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to guide us all through this journey of bold, authentic living.
Hey guys, welcome back. That is the sound of your inner child having flashbacks. Today we're exposing how your childhood secretly runs your dating choices, i.e., why you keep dating emotionally unavailable people named Brad, your career as an overachiever or a chronic procrastinator with no in between, or your weird relationship with money. You're either hoarding it like a dragon or spending like you won the lottery last night. It took me forever to understand that me failing at something doesn't make me a failure, because I am more than my brain. And that was most of what I was praised for growing up. Thanks, trauma. So let's diagnose which childhood wound is currently driving your life like a drunk Uber driver. Here's the quiz. What's your trauma archetype? Are you the human golden retriever, where your petrified child now is addicted to praise? Like, oh my gosh, without this, I need someone to love me. Somebody give me love, give me affection. You're a cute dog, but you're still requiring affection. Or are you a rebellious teen where you're still fighting authority figures, but this time it's in group chats? So now you're like, no, you can't tell me what to do. I'm against the man. What man? Nobody, somebody was just asking you what you wanted for lunch. And lastly, are you the silent observer, where you're the master of disappearing during conflict? Okay? Conflict shows up and you're like, deuces, I was never here. No one found me. Goodbye. Like, you're like that Simpsons meme where Bart is like slowly but surely walking out the back into the bushes, like, or Homer is slowly walking into the bushes, like, you are out of it when there's conflict. So in order to move past who we are, trauma wants us to be, we have to see the red flags when they actually show up. So first red flag you have to pay attention to is you apologize when someone else bumps into you. Guys, they bumped into you, okay? You might say, excuse me. Okay, that might be appropriate, especially growing up in the South. You might say something like, excuse me, but there is no I'm sorry. There is no my bad. There was no your bad. You were walking, minding your business, and this person wasn't paying attention, ergo, they apologized to you. So if you feel the need to apologize just in general, just because, red flag. Second red flag. If you have 37 unread texts because responding feels like emotional labor, you're in trouble. Okay? Point blank period, you're in trouble. If you feel that texting back to a situation drains you completely, then one, it's probably a toxic relationship. So let's just get out of that. Okay? That's why it's also a red flag. But if you're so overwhelmed that you don't know how to give yourself to something as simple as a text message response, that's a whole other podcast, guys. The point is, if that is you, if you're overwhelmed by simply responding to something and you'd rather let those little red numbers extend till 1,000,000 rather than actually open up something, red flag for days, okay? Another red flag is your Amazon cart is full of self-help or impulsive buys to fill the void. Guys, if there's a hole in your heart, I promise you, self-help books won't fix it. And I say that as a life coach that is here for self-help, okay? I know it sounds counterintuitive. I know it sounds like I'm out here, trying to be hypocritical or whatever else. I'm telling you, if there's a hole in your heart, just binge buying. As much as I love Amazon, binge buying is never going to heal your soul. Self-help books are never going to make it feel better. There is a hole that needs to be fixed and healed. And there's no book that's going to do it for you. You have to do it. Another red flag that we need to pay attention to is that you can detect a mood shift 3 rooms away. If I'm here for empaths, one of my best friends is one of the most empathetic people in the entire world. She is so in tune. She is focused. It is great. Okay. I have another best friend who is too in tune. Okay. You can be too much. And I say that because I am a firm believer of everything in moderation. So it is possible to be too in tuned to what's happening in the scenario. And if you can just like feel the aura, and now you gotta, again, do what people do where you're the silent magician and you just roll out, that's a red flag, okay? It's okay if the mood changes. It's okay if other people have feelings. It's okay if there's conflict going on 30 feet away from you. It has nothing to do with you, okay? 0 things. There is no reason for you to feel cringe just because the mood shift away from you, okay? If that's you, red flag, all right? And lastly, if your love language is quality time, but you're terrified of intimacy, i.e. your therapist knows more about you than your romantic partner, you're in trouble, okay? 1, you should totally listen to the episode I did about love languages. So maybe your love language isn't quality time, which is another red flag because you're out here lying and pretending you're something you're not. Not trying to be hypocritical, been there, done that. There's growth in that. But if your love language literally is quality time and you're afraid of time, then there is a real problem underneath there that needs to be dealt with. And I promise you a self-help book ain't gonna fix it. I promise it's not. I promise you're not gonna get to the point where you feel more comfortable talking to a stranger than you do what's going on with your friends and your family. Like, you can't fix that. You're not gonna ever get to a place where that's not the thing that makes you feel most comfortable. Because let's be real, it would be crazy. It would be, maybe crazy is the wrong word, but it would be just wild if I'm married, love my husband, we've been together for 7 years, almost 8 years, and we have a child, and my therapist knows more about me than he does. Guys, it doesn't make any sense. That's so unhealthy. That's what I'm talking about. That's the red flag you need to stay away from. If you're here for intimacy, if you're here for love and you're not bringing that to the table, red flag you need to be concerned about. So now that we've talked about what to look for, you also have to know what your personal triggers are, because it's not just good enough to see the flag. You have to know what brought the flag on, or what sent you down the path to then see said red flag. So first trigger is that you panic when someone says, we need to talk. Even if it's just for lunch plans, okay? We need to talk doesn't have to be the 4 worst words in the history of mankind. It doesn't. I know you see rom-coms. I know we do other things where, that's the breakup line. That's the, all hell is breaking loose line. But it's not true. Sometimes those are the words you need. Hey, we need to talk. It's okay for me to say that to one of my best friends that I haven't talked to in 2 months. Hey, we need to talk. I love you. I miss you. I want to know what's going on in your life. I just want to talk to you. It's okay for me to say that without there being some crazy, misconstrued, back alley meaning that has nothing to do with anything. Okay? And if those words are used and you freak out and have a panic attack, then that is a trigger trauma for you that you might need to deal with. Okay? Another trigger is you either fight, freeze, or people please during a conflict. Okay? Conflict is there because 2 people are in a different space and need to somehow come together and compromise and find conflict resolution. Okay? You don't need to fight about it. You don't need to freak out and not say anything. And you don't need to kowtow and just stop giving of yourself to make the conflict go away. It's so unhealthy. And I say that as someone that had the fight response, okay? If there was conflict, I was fighting you to prove that my point was right. We could box, okay? We could go blow to blow for me to prove that what I was saying was correct, because I felt like if you disagree with me, you were attacking my whole entire character and personal well-being, as if I was too stupid to have thought through something, as if I didn't see multiple sides, as if I was too stupid to understand the magnitude of my choice. That's what I was reading into the situation. Totally not true in all situations, totally not necessary, totally a lot, okay? That had nothing to do with anything else. I was doing the most. And I was doing the most because I was triggered by a whole childhood slew of things that I'm not going to go into, especially because I love my mother and I'm not going to put all of our family business out there. I love you, Mom. I still love you even though I'm in therapy. The last trigger you should pay attention to is that compliments make you physically uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, did I struggle with this? Sometimes if I'm not in a good place, I still struggle with it. If you're in a place where you feel like there's an imposter syndrome because people are viewing you in this way, and you're like, that's not me. You clearly must not be seeing me and all my flaws. I am not that great. You're trying to make me be great, but I'm not great yet. Not true. Totally not true. Okay? That's just the triggered childhood in you that's saying that you're less than, that you're unworthy to be loved, you're unworthy to be praised, and you're unworthy to be seen for who you are and what you bring to the table. Trigger. And you got to do something about it because it's dangerous. So we got to heal, and we got to heal without becoming the ultimate cliche. Okay, so sometimes you have to reparent yourself. And I mean, buy yourself the toy you never got. Yes, Legos can be therapeutic. Okay, I personally would never buy Legos because I have a 2-year-old and I just see myself with a 2-year-old running around. Forget her swallowing the Lego. I just see her leaving it around and me stepping on it and cursing and screaming. And then my 2-year-old is repeating my cursing and screaming. So no, none for me. But you know what? If I wanted a lunchbox, if I wanted a thermos, if I decided that, again, personal preference, no judgment here, okay? So I don't expect to be judged by y'all. If I decided that I wanted to find an old school Space Jam thermos to drink my water out of because that's what I wanted, I could buy it and it would make me happy and it would have nothing to do with anything else. Okay? Sometimes you allow yourself to feel the way you want to feel good about it, to make sure that you're not treating yourself as less than. Okay? So let yourself eat dessert first sometimes. Let yourself feel good. Let yourself be grown. Let your inner child smile, because that's what's required in the moment. Okay? Then sometimes you got to break the patterns. Okay, try something crazy like dating someone emotionally available. I know, crazy concept. Completely out of pocket, Jasmine. You're out there on a limb. I get it. It may be a hot take. But the whole point of trying to be with somebody and finding a significant other is that they're willing to do the same with you. So if they don't have the freedom, the time, or the energy to do that with you, then you're in the wrong space, because you deserve to have someone that's as into you as you are into them, okay? That's what it means to date someone emotionally available, okay? That they are just as invested in the relationship as you are. Try it. It's crazy. Not saying that that's how I got married, because I'm not going to go into that, but I'm saying that it is a really big, important step. And yes, my husband does love me as much as I love him. Sometimes I think he loves me more, but that is a whole other personal conversation. And it's also important when you're redoing the patterns to say no to things while making direct eye contact, okay? You stare that person in the face and you say no. It's called a boundary. It's called self-respect. It's called self-worth. I know it might make you cringe. It'll change the mood in the room. It'll make you uncomfortable. It'll bring in that fight or flight response. But we're breaking patterns here, okay? We're turning into someone, we're protecting ourselves and not letting our childhood trauma run the room, okay? You're trying to turn your anxious attachment into a creative superpower, okay? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the things that you might want to fix that you think are broken into a thing that you can feel proud of. You're not broken because you need to learn how to say no. You just need to learn how to say no. That's the end of discussion. You're not broken. You just need a new skill, okay? If you have stalker level attention to detail, one, I appreciate you type A people, because for those of us that can't function that way, thank you for saving lives, creating planners, and doing whatever else, because I don't have it. But if you do have that level of attention to detail, try some art. It makes great artwork, okay? Because you're focused on the whole entire picture. You're focused on the plan. You're focused on the process. Make it work for you, okay? It doesn't make you a bad person because you're type A. It's just your personality type. And I'm telling you, those of us that have no plan, that we're just willy-nilly, we need you in our lives. Please don't go anywhere. One time my therapist was like, journaling helps process emotions. And I looked her dead in her eye and said, sure, but have you ever tried angry baking at 2 a.m.? It's very cathartic. Of course, we laughed together and, she was serious, but so was I. I'm not journaling. I'm not a journaler. You know what the closest thing to journaling I get? It's writing outlines and the outline I need for some of these podcasts. That's the closest I'm getting to journaling. I lied. Maybe there's a tie. There's the outline for this, and I am a Christian. We don't need to go into that. I promise I'm really trying very hard to not ever do an episode on spirituality, because that's someone would have to bring that to the table to me. Okay, we're just going to put that out there. Somebody would have to bring that to the table for me to come out and just be like, hey, this is the stance. Because it's not my job to judge or believe or whatever else. I'm just making a point right now that I am a Christian. And so I do devotionals with my Bible that are valuable to me. Okay, and sometimes those devotionals have me write out some stuff. A lot of times that's also in an outline. It's a lot of bullet points. It's a lot of, this resonates with me for today. I want to make that my mantra for the day. And I write that out. That is the closest thing I'm ever going to get to journaling. If you think that I am waking up early in the crack of dawn to write in a book, it's not my vibe. It's not my style. Okay? I'd much rather be up at 2 a.m. trying to find Waffle House, being angry about something, and then ranting and maybe watching a really great anime. That's what I would prefer to do. Like I said, it's cathartic. The truth is, your inner child isn't cringy. It's just trying to protect you. But maybe stop letting it make all of your decisions, okay? I actually try to treat my inner child like a drunk best friend. You got to be gentle but firm, okay? We have to make our way home. I know you're a fun drunk. We've had a great time today, but now it's time to reel it back. That's how I treat my inner child. Love them to death, have a great amount of fun, have some great memories they bring to the table, and they can't live my life. They can't run my life. They can't ruin my life. They can't do any of that, okay? Sometimes you have to look at who you are. You have to look at what you may have worried you might become. Sometimes you have to look at the very thing that you think defines you and tell yourself it doesn't, okay? So this week, let's do one thing that your younger self would high five you for, even if it's something as simple as cereal for dinner, okay? Again, the truth is that while your past may explain you, it doesn't define you, okay? We are more than what we've gone through. We are more than our past mistakes. We are more than what we seem to have brought to the table, okay? And that is a really big deal in all of our relationships, friendships, dating, coworkers, whatever else. You are not your past. We all have preferences, ideas, beliefs, whatever else, but you are not your past. And that is a really important healing thing, okay? And that is a healing thing that I promise no self-help book is going to help you deal with, okay? It's just not. I know it's a hot take. I know it's crazy, but it's and we could do better. We could be better. We can figure out how to overcome our trauma, because our trauma is what's holding us back from being our best version of ourselves. And no matter what, the goal is to always be the best version of who you are and what you can bring to the table. That's the ultimate goal. That's how we function in life. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to be the greatest version of ourselves in our life with the people around us and how we interact with the rest of the world. That's the goal, okay? Your past does not get to drive the car anymore, okay? It doesn't. It's not in charge. At most, it can ride shotgun, but it has no aux privileges, okay? It doesn't get to control anything. That's just not how that works. I love you enough to tell you that it's time to take the keys back, okay? It's time to overcome the things that have been standing in the way of what makes you great. It's time to come back and decide that what somebody told you at 12 years old is not who you are and what you bring to the table at your big age, okay? What happened to me at 10 is not who I am at 33. It's just not. What happened to me in college is not who I am at 33. People said it all the time. My mom said it. I didn't believe it. I thought it was stupid. It felt very cliche. But the more I'm in it, the more I'm like, man, there was wisdom. Your 20s are where you grow, you go through some stuff. Okay, you are in the throes of it in your 20s. The 30s are where you find yourself and you love yourself and you appreciate it despite what you went through. That's the key. It's not about what I went through. It's about what I learned and what I choose to take or not take with me. Okay? Sometimes overcoming childhood trauma is about making sure that you don't bring the baggage with you. I know that's a crazy concept. I know people talk about baggage as a metaphor for everything, but not everything that you pack has to come with you. Sometimes I think the best metaphor for childhood trauma is like the show Hoarders. If you guys have ever seen Hoarders, it's a lot. It's crazy. Personally, I love it. It's definitely a specialty binge show that I can enjoy, watching them clean something out and try to heal them. The most fun part about the show is that they bring therapists in to try to help them change their thought process, okay? But the point I'm making with the metaphor is that, yes, a lot of it has to be thrown out, but other stuff they sort through and they can put it into boxes, and it can be a keep, a donate, a throwaway box. They separate it into where it needs to be. Your childhood trauma is like all the stuff that has been hoarded in your house that you have to take out of the house, sort it into keep, donation, and throwaway piles so that you can actually see the beauty of what's inside your house and live in a healthy, clean house. Okay? That's what I'm saying childhood trauma is like. You have to decide what you're keeping and what you're throwing away. You have to decide for a childhood trauma donation is, I can go back and teach somebody. I see the struggles you're going through and I can relate my message to that through you because that's important. Okay? That's what you have to do with your childhood trauma. That's how you have to deal with some of the stuff that's happening. I know that's a crazy metaphor. It seems kind of out of pocket, but that's the best I can do right now of like, sometimes you just got to throw it away. My favorite part about Hoarders is towards the end, they start talking about how much trash they throw away, and y'all need to watch the show because they throwing out tons. Like, you won't believe me. You think it's an over-exaggeration when they look at you and say they threw out 10 tons of trash, 10,000 pounds of trash. That's sometimes what you have to do with your childhood trauma. You just gotta let it go. It can't drive the car anymore. It can't be what's causing you to make the choices and the decisions that you're making. You are more than your past. You are more than what you've struggled with. You and your self-worth and your self-respect and your greatness and your livelihood and everything else that makes you you deserves to be able to walk away from whatever pain and suffering that you have walked through in your time. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds intense, but you deserve more. And in case no one has ever told you, I'm telling you, I love you enough to let you know that you are more, you deserve more, and you can find greatness in everything that you do. It's time to take yourself back. It's time to take your future self back. It's time to decide to make choices for what's best for you and what you personally love, and not about what has been involved in the past, okay? Again, your past may explain where you are, but it doesn't define who you are. So if you want to celebrate those wins, because I want to celebrate them too, feel free to message me and tag me with childhood trauma win, okay? Childhood trauma win, because you want to make sure you're overcoming. You can find me on Instagram at breathe_easy_coaching, or you can find me on TikTok at lifecoach_Jasmine. And I want to celebrate this with you. I'll tell you some of my wins because it's an ongoing affair. Some days I'm like, oh, look at that growth. Other days I'm like, ooh, that is something that I need to learn to overcome. Okay? We can all get there. We can all celebrate with each other. We can all be great. Okay? And we can be more than whatever we were brought up with, whatever it takes us to be, and whatever thing we find out that we need to go to therapy for. Okay? So be great. And now, go call your mom. Or don't. We don't judge here. Whatever your trauma needs.
Remember, you don't need permission to be great. And this is your call to rise, to reclaim your power, and to step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I believe extraordinary potential lives in all of us. The dreams we've tucked away, the voice that was softened, and the fire that's been waiting to burn bright. This journey isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about shattering expectations and embracing your truest, most unapologetic self. No more shrinking or waiting for permission. The world needs your brilliance, your resilience, and your unique light. It's time to stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I am more than enough. Your next chapter begins now. Let's write it with courage, audacity, and unshakable belief in who you are. The unstoppable person isn't born, they're awakened. And that person is you. Now go start your revolution. This world needs your unshaken light today.